Guys, can I bring this up because this has been on my mind
Sure.
a lot? Is this whole Machine Gun Kelly thing?
Oh my god!
With Slipknot.
Wait, with Slipknot or with the fighter dude? Which one?
Oh my
Either
god!
All of it all together. It's culminated. It's at the head.
Did you guys watch him at all?
Yeah, we did.
Oh my god, I was like barricaded.
You were up there? You were into it. You were in it.
Yeah.
I watched
Deep
Slipknot.
into it.
It was awesome.
That's fair. I get that.
Slipknot rocked.
Wait, did they have like a battle, like where they were across from each other?
They played at the exact same time.
Just
They're
different sides
like
of the
back to back. It
I
was
know
like
jack
back to
shit
back.
about this.
Yeah.
They were talking about it earlier. Somebody please explain to me.
So
what
I'll give the rundown of what happened here. MGK and Slipknot were booked for the same slot at Riot Fest. So MGK and Slipknot basically went on at the exact same time. They were the only two bands playing. So anybody who was like checking out a band had to either go to MGK or Slipknot. And of course, I think that was like kind of intentional because the Slipknot fans are probably not going to be MGK fans and the MGK fans are probably not going to be Slipknot fans. That overlap is going to be a very small niche group. Me. So I decided to check out MGK just because I was like, well, I'll leave in the middle of MGK and go check out Slipknot like after a few songs. And I ended up getting kind of pushed into the crowd quite a bit and then, couldn't get out. And I'm like, well, whatever. Yeah, I lived there. MGK decided to talk shit about Slipknot. But so this is how everybody repeated it, is that MGK talked shit by saying, you know what I'm really happy about? That I'm not 50 years old and wearing masks on fucking stage, which I'm like, isn't even an eloquent insult, let alone really that insulting. Like Slipknot is 50 because they've been doing a band for a very long time. Side note, only one member of the band is 50 or above. Everybody else is under 50. So it's not even really true. And they do wear masks and always have. So like, there's no insult there. And then everyone says, MGK coming for Slipknot, talking shit. Can you believe MGK said this? Is MGK an actual monster?
Are we going for Machine Gun Kelly too now?
Machinery Gunnery Kelly.
Is that what MGK stands for? Holy shit!
Machinery Gunnery Kelly Clarkson. So it's
Machine
like
Gun Kelly Clarkson is his.
It's great. It's really good. It's very good. Yeah.
He did say it twice. He did mention it twice. He did take 2 individual shots fired at him.
Yeah.
And as many people have said, it's like, dude, why are you doing that? Like, it's really stupid. So here are my thoughts for everybody. And everybody can chime in after this. But before he went for Eminem in a rap battle, like no one really gave a shit about MGK. No one really thought anything about MGK. And then right before he went out on tour with Fall Out Boy, he like does a diss track for Eminem. My thought about that is that Eminem does not have to respond to somebody like MGK. Just straight up, you could ignore the fuck out of MGK. Who gives a shit?
Can I challenge one little thing there though? I still don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Fair.
But Florence and the Machine Gun Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, Florence and the Machine Gun Kelly Clarkson. Yeah,
sorry.
That's the weirdest matchup.
Could you
of our
imagine
lives.
that tour lineup? Just that audience of people. Ooh.
Speaking of no overlap between the two, because he went for Eminem and Eminem responded and responded with a beef track. It doesn't really like in the overall world. Everybody can say, "Oh man, Eminem like came for him, destroyed him, crushed him." It's like. Yeah, it doesn't really actually matter. Like people only care about this beef because it happened. So MGK being a smaller artist, going for a much larger artist and getting attention on their music is only good for the smaller artist. The big artist doesn't really gain anything because they're already a gigantic artist. There was a bit of beef between Corey Taylor and MGK. And he kind of was talking shit about his like genre change and all that. And it's like, he's not really a rock musician, all this shit. And so, of course, like Machinery has to come out and say some stuff about him at the show. Then it goes to Twitter because everybody has Bird app on their phone and says, "Oh, have you seen this shit?" And then Corey Taylor has to respond, and then Machinery is responding.
You confused the fuck out of him with Bird app.
Bird app, Twitter.
Twitter. You have to keep explaining shit to me. I'm sorry.
So Machine Gun Kelly responds and says, Corey wrote a really terrible verse, so we cut the whole song from the record. And then Corey Taylor goes, okay, here are the emails that were sent where I said I'm not going to do it because I didn't like it and I didn't think it was for me. So anyway, all this comes down to that I'm like, the fact that we've been talking about MGK for 3 days, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. I'm not saying that it's like, I don't love negativity for publicity or popularity. It's not kind of my direction, but MGK clearly has already shown that that's kind of his bag, negativity to sell himself and to sell his music. And I don't think that anybody who's like, oh man, like fuck MGK, fuck this guy, fuck his music, fuck his change to rock music is really doing any harm to MGK. I don't think it's hurting anything or anybody.
It's funny that the exact same thing happened the night before. Smashing Pumpkins were on the main stage, NoFX was closing out the side stage, and Fat Mike talked mad shit about how much he fucking thinks the Smashing Pumpkins suck, and no one gave a shit because they're used to him just saying ridiculous shit, and that's his thing.
Talk shit about everybody constantly every time there's a mic in his hand.
Yeah.
Who should we be negative against to really get our level raised up?
Pick your beef.
Pick a beef.
It's like a good one.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good one. Well, you
know what I want to say about Machine Gun Kelly is I don't think talking shit is doing him any good, because I feel like he was fucking clowned out of rap and then went for pop punk because he was like, I got to do something else and I have no marketable skills and I'm a fucking asshole.
Well, I think we know who we're going after.
And he was like,
add it in.
He was great in the dirt.
I think he should stop talking shit. He looks like a dickhead every time he does it.
Yeah.
Did you say he looks like a dickhead and everybody knows it?
No. So he looks like a dickhead every time he does it.
Oh,
yeah.
And
everybody knows it. I have this this follow-up thought about Corey Taylor, and like every time I've heard him interviewed about anything new in music, he has that like boomer energy of like, man, it was better in my day. And it's like, dude, why are you like this? Like, you've been on like a Falling in Reverse song. Like, you've done like a lot of like
you know things could be better, but you're continuously making it worse.
Like, you are trying to stay in the public eye. You made a song called CMFT, Corey motherfucking Taylor. It's one of the worst songs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, you've done some shitty shit too. Slipknot's great, but like, you can also fall. Like, you can also like do poorly. And if you're out here talking shit about new bands, you're not gaining any kids as your fans. Meanwhile, MGK appealing to a younger audience, most of whom are not going to give a shit if he talks shit about a band they've never heard or don't like metal music. They're not going to give a shit that like that band and a lot of people on Twitter think MGK is an asshole. And like, the only people that you're trying to sway are the people who like literally don't know anything about music, like only hear what's on the radio, only care about maybe a couple songs, but like they're going to hear MGK played on mainstream radio, main pop radio, because it's such a thing. I don't think it hurts MGK as far as like making his name repeated about a band that probably a lot of these people don't really care about. And then next thing you know, he's being played on the radio. You go, oh, I heard his name the other day. You know what? I kind of like this song. Let me go listen to this. Let me check it out. Yeah, I kind of like this. The record's good.
I will say that him going after Slipknot is like decidedly different than going after Eminem.
Sure.
It's like attacking the top and then attacking like, I don't know, somewhere in the middle.
It's attacking like the biggest metal band.
There's a version of this that worked really well in 2016 for another bully. The big orange bully that was the president for a while.
Oh, sure.
There's a version of this that works really well in general. So why would they stop if the general public's just going to keep feeding into it? So sorry, not to get too terrible.
No. I bet Fat Mike is so jealous that he did the exact same thing the night before and got no press.
You think so? You think he gives a shit?
Oh, he loves when people hate him.
Oh yeah, Fat Mike is big into like the controversy 100%. He wants that attention.
It's just that he does it all the time, so nobody cares. But MGK does it like every so often. You're like, everyone cares right now.
Billy Corgan is a shit talker too, though. So
yeah,
it's not like
it's
not like Billy's.
What's with all these frontmen shit talkers?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I gotta start talking more shit.
Because men.
That's the thing.
That's why.
You are correct. You are correct.
Wrong.
That negative energy is more of a man thing than anybody else.
Oh, did you hear what Gwen Stefani said?
Man, can you believe Gwen Stefani also said a bunch of shit about Slipknot? That was crazy.
That's really wild.
I would also say, just because it came up in the chat too, is like it's a very Kanye move. Like, there's a lot of artists that have done it throughout the years, and even if they do get a bad rap, they still eventually, like over time, come out somewhere in the middle. Like, not like the most hated, not the most loved, but they come out somewhere in the middle.
Did it start out with John Lennon and Jesus? Is that where this?
Yeah.
Jesus was like Jesus was like the Beatles suck. Fuck the Beatles.
Yeah.
I'm a Stones guy.
Yeah. My dad doesn't
More
like
Stones
it. He
guy.
likes everybody. And then John had to fucking retaliate.
And again, I am very pro positivity on the internet. I'm very pro not just starting shit for the sake of like benefiting yourself rather than benefiting the overall community. I do think that people do better when they all come together and just like make a big group, and like everybody's fans of everything now. So there's no real need to like pick sides and pick like little communities. But I do think like it does work, and I hate that shit. But I also think maybe you could also just talk shit about negativity, which maybe like you could see, hey, he was talking shit about the negative shit that Corey Taylor said to him. And that's where kind of like people are saying like sides here. But the only person I pick on is negative.
I picture Mr. Machine Gun Kelly and Corey Taylor sitting backstage after the show, sipping on some lemonades and just laughing about how they made everyone think.
100% though. Like if you've got emails, if you text, if you like are set up through Travis Barker, like you know that they are both probably in on it. Like it has nothing to do with like anybody
they probably
else.
at least sent like one text, be like, "Hey, can I like rip on you for not doing this?" And he probably, I guess,
just letting you know it's all good, dude. Like I'm just doing it for clout.
Fuck Dikembe.
Yeah. Let's those fucking guys. Like that's what we need to do. We need to pick like somebody that's.
Oh, we should pick someone. I mean, no fucking Dikembe.
Dude, Jimmy Eat World like wrote a whole shitty record, man. Like,
I got it going.
I'm gonna be honest though, those guys are way too fucking nice to be mean
yeah, of
to.
course. But that's even funnier. Like you're like a bully because you're going for Jimmy Eat World.
It's like, what has Mr. Jimmy Eat World done to you ever?
Here's what I'll say. I'll give you something. You can use this. On that record with the umbrella, they used like a font that you can just Google for and find. Like nobody designed that font.
Is this the beef? Are we about to start beef with Mr. Jimmy Eat World over that?
Dude.
Yeah, we're starting beef with Jimmy Eat World over font.
Yeah. they wrote their album title in like the Joker's like forehead font from the Suicide Squad movie. Dude, can you imagine Jimmy Eat World ripped off the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker? Can you believe it?
Was that Jared Leto's like actual IRL Joker origin story, and that's why he's like a cult leader right now?
Wow.
Joker Eat World, am I right? Come on, guys. Anyway,
I'm sorry. You need to leave the podcast. You need to leave the podcast right now.
Anyway, here's take us to my downfall.
Our next album is called Joker Eat World.
That's it.
Yeah, I like that.